Armenian units fired on Shusha last night and this morning. As a result of the fighting along the Agdan and Vizurin regions, 3 people were killed and 20 wounded. In the city of Shusha, 20 buildings were destroyed. According to both Azerbaijani and Armenian sources, the concentration of forces is building up along the border. Apparently, the people who survived the Leningrad blockade are in a best position to understand the situation in Tskhinvali. For the second year in a row, the people here are without light or heat and in total isolation from the rest of the world. This road of life through the mountains is the only communication link here, but it is not always reliable. It is constantly under fire. The food situation in the city is bad, and of course the moral and psychological mood of the people has been stressed to the extreme. The lack of work, the cold and hunger, and the destruction are having their effects as well. People cannot even buy candles, which is leading to an increase in crime. Organized crime units have arisen in the city, and fear for the safety and health of their children keeps the refugees from returning home. There is still a real danger. We demanded negotiations with the Gamsahurdia government and with the opposition government after the fall of Gamsahurdia, and now we insist on conducting negotiations in the nearest possible future. About 2,000 firearms were, including pistols, shotguns, and machine guns, were stolen in Grozny today from an armory from the internal forces positioned there. Unidentified armed bandits broke into the armory and stole all the military technology there, including several armed personnel carriers and an amphibious tank. The military unit did not resist because the internal troops had been moved under the jurisdiction of General Dudayev in Grozny. The legal evaluation of the Kurultai, which is the assembly of the Tatar people held in Kazan February 1 and 2, was given by the Tatarstan Supreme Soviet today. They said that the decisions of the Kurultai on the official language, independence, appeals to the United Nations and the Commonwealth, along with all other decisions of the Kurultai, have no legal validity. The Supreme Soviet declared that it will not accept the unconstitutional decision of any issues involved in the political, economic, and social development of this multinational republic. Vladimir Lukin is the chairman of the Supreme Soviet Committee of the Russian Federation on International Affairs and Foreign Economic Relations. He had a press conference today in his new job. He is the new Russian ambassador to the United States, the first one since 1917. The press expressed various evaluations of his nomination to this post, including the belief that this was a gift to Lukin for his support of Yeltsin during the August coup. There was also the opinion expressed that it's the result of the political conflict between Lukin and Parliamentary Speaker Ruslan Khasbolatov, and it could also reflect the desire of Russian parliamentarians to find new jobs. Lukin's diplomatic credo is the following. In principle, I should say that politics, as distinct from abstract dreams typed in isolation on a typewriter, idealistic dreams, politics is done, of course, with the strong elements of searching for compromise and also pressure, using pressure to find compromise. Boris Yeltsin, during his visit to the United States, introduced his new ambassador to George Bush. Therefore, the president wished the new ambassador good luck. Therefore, we do not need Washington's official approval on this nomination. The UN Security Council held a consultative meeting on the situation in Yugoslavia today. The members of the Council supported the proposal of the UN General Secretary to the effect that the situation in Yugoslavia does not yet permit the introduction of UN peacekeeping forces there. The current ceasefire, in the opinion of many UN members, is very unreliable, and its breakdown could result in catastrophic consequences not only for Yugoslavia, but for for all countries which participate in the peace effort from the outside. The intention of the Russian government to recognize Slovenia and Croatia was criticized in Belgrade today. The Yugoslavian government believes that this unilateral act legalizes separatism and will make the search for a peaceful solution of the Yugoslav crisis more difficult. All Yugoslav newspapers today published the information of the Tanjug Information Agency, saying that Russia's decision is a sharp turn from Russia's decisive support for unity in Yugoslavia to active participation in its collapse. They said it is the consequence of the political game played by the American administration, which wants to maintain good relations with Serbia and therefore wants Russia to recognize Slovenia and Croatia first. Russia defended its actions as a desire not to remain on the sidelines. However, the recognition of Slovenia and Croatia would create a precedent for deciding similar conflicts which could arise on the borders of the Russian Federation itself. The news from Pakistan attracts attention. Today, the first Deputy Foreign Minister of Pakistan said that his country has all the necessary components and technology to create at least one nuclear explosive. He is the first official of Pakistan to openly admit that Islamabad has the ability to begin production of nuclear weapons. Today is Northern Territory Days in Japan, and leaders of all serious political forces of the country met to demand the return of the 4 islands and the signing of a peace treaty. These demands are the same as they were before, but the nuance comes about because of the new mutual understanding between the Japanese and Russian governments. Prime Minister Miyazawa, quoting President Yeltsin, said that he plans to resolve the territorial issues on the basis of legality and justice. The terms used by both sides are the same, but each side gives them a different interpretation. The rightist forces are alarming both our embassy officials here and the participants in the meeting. Without the participation of these rightists, it could have been said that the meeting here was held in a calm atmosphere. This, some believe, is a campaign by the Japanese government to create the right public opinion atmosphere to assure those who live on the South Kurils that they have nothing to fear. And now back to our domestic problems. The Minister of Social Problems in the Moscow City Council tried to calm the medical workers today. As you know, in the recent days, the medical workers have expressed their dissatisfaction in very extreme terms. We remind you that these emergency medical care workers demanded salary increases only as their second demand. The first was improvement in working conditions, which will allow them to properly treat people who fall into their hands and need care. The situation will be resolved if the Moscow government has the power to do it, because they are interested in resolving the issue. We had very frank and businesslike and productive decisions. The Moscow government will definitely take responsibility of resolving all of the supply problems of the ambulance services, and I believe this is the way out of the situation. All of the negative problems of our society are fundamentally and in the first place connected with the problem of emergency medical care. And one more sensational piece of news. These kind of sensations we used to think were the prerogative only of Western criminals, and now the theft of the century has happened here. An armed attack was carried out on the Azot Production Association in Georgia by unidentified gunmen today. They stole a half-centner of platinum. This metal, as we know, is used as a catalyst in the production of nitrogen acid. The approximate value of the platinum that was stolen is 250 million rubles. The criminals acted cruelly and in cold blood, chasing all of the night shift shift workers on the factory into a single room. Then they expertly dismantled the facility which contained the platinum. The police are looking for the criminals, and the producers are constructing a new platinum facility. Good evening. Only several hours remain before the triumphal opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games in Albertville. The opening ceremony will begin at 6:50 p.m. tomorrow on Channel 1. Today we received our first report from Albertville from our special correspondent, Georgi Sarkissians. The organizers of the events are hanging up the Olympic rings, and everything is ready. The athletes are doing their final training runs. Sun, snow, mountains. In the mountains where the alpine events will take place and where our TV crew lives, winter still reigns. But here in the valley where Albertville itself is located,